Hi guys, this is Mike L from the Comic Book Syndicate. We are here at Detroit Comics in Ferndale, Michigan. We're here with G.I. Jolie and Jeff. We're working on it. Anyway, okay, so we are here to talk about a very popular, arguably the most popular female superhero, Supergirl, and we're going all the way back to her first appearance. She is currently starring in a smash hit TV show on CBS, but we've gone all the way back to 1959. We've reread her first appearance, written by Otto Binder and drawn by Al Plastino. Let's just talk really quickly about the concept of the character. The writer Otto Binder had previously been the writer for a comic character called Captain Marvel, which was arguably a Superman ripoff, but was much more whimsical, sort of childish magic. So one of the things Otto Binder contributed to Superman was making him actually more like Captain Marvel, partly by introducing a female version of Superman. So, with that in mind, let's talk about, because I got into this argument with my friends about, I would rather see only Wolverine. I don't want to see Wolverine's daughter and Wolverine's son. I don't want to see even Robin. I kind of like Superman being unique. What do you guys think? Does Superman need a Supergirl? What's your impression?
Immediately after, I guess, we read this origin story as it first appeared in Action Comics.
Yes.
My thought was, she's wholly unnecessary. I don't understand why they want to introduce this character. She doesn't seem to serve any purpose. It seems like she's crash landed on this earth and with no purpose. Like, other than she's just another person who now Superman is not the only superpowered Kryptonian on Earth, and that's the only purpose she serves. She doesn't drive his story along, nothing. If anything, she acts to sort of stop his moving forward progression in order to stop and help her. And then he kind of sets her up with, a wig and home in an orphanage, and that's it. Like, I don't get it.
Well,
Jeff?
Well, it's kind of interesting because she lands and she emerges from her rocket ship in the exact same outfit as Superman.
Yeah.
And has the same powers, and he says, because I had this kind of upbringing and it really taught me how to be human, I want you to have the same thing. So he then puts her in on like the same line. Like, of course it's an orphanage, but it's basically like, I'm going to like put you in a loving home. How thrilling, Superman, she says. Can I begin my super career right away? No, Kara. You'll need long practice before you can use your superpowers. He says as she's landing in the same outfit. Like,
we'll keep you in Mid-Val.
Mid-Val, yeah.
And then you're not even going to live anywhere near me. I guess I can fly in and check on you. But...
Okay, but let me then go to the other side.
Okay.
Because she's almost exactly the same character, but she's not. She's a teenage girl. Obviously, there's an attempt, and we can talk about whether it's a successful attempt, to create a character that girls can relate to.
Going back to your question of whether it's necessary, today, contemporary readers, no, it's not a necessity to introduce a teenage female character. But, yes, in the context of 1959.
I'm going to disagree with you
again. I think so.
Because look at what is going on with Ms. Marvel, with the idea of creating a female teenage Muslim superhero character. And clearly part of that impulse is to say that comics as we imagine them are skewed towards male and skewed towards white male.
Yeah. Well,
and skewed towards like adolescent white male imaginations. And so right now you see efforts to widen that, and I can't help but think that there's this attempt at that moment to say we're going to create a character who is, for all practical purposes, Superman for girls.
Well, and the funny thing is you have these narrow-minded, misogynist, racist, white male readers who will tell us that females can't sell and that minorities can't sell, and every time they introduce a character, they're always a hit. Ms. Marvel is a Muslim, she's Pakistani, and she's a female, and it's the most critically acclaimed Marvel title in years. It's one of the best-selling titles. And
That's great.
the Supergirl TV show just premiered, and it had higher ratings than Flash and Arrow and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Did it really?
and Gotham.
also
Supergirl's more
airs
popular.
on-
Yeah, Supergirl's TV show is more popular than Batman's. Could you even imagine that?
I mean, I think one of the interesting things about her is then how do you, once you've created that character, how do you then go about making her different? I mean, I think they didn't really worry about that in that initial one. I think it becomes a challenge as you go on and re-envision her now. So I think that became a challenge with the New 52
Which we'll talk about in a minute. Before we get to that,
and the TV show.
let me just ask you this, guys.
How do you make her unique?
We've talked about this story. I don't think it's a great story. I think it's an introduction. It's a setup, right?
This
Yeah.
right here,
It's
the,
not a great
the original?
story. Yeah.
No.
Not a great story.
No.
No. It is clearly like a, hey, look, guys.
It's.
Here she
I
is.
mean, reading it now, it's ridiculous. But reading a lot of 59
Well-
comics now, it's ridiculous.
Let's put it this way. I don't think it's a great story, but there were other great stories being published at that time by Otto Binder, by Ed Hamilton. These guys are good writers. I just don't think this is the greatest story by these guys. It's a setup. That being said, I think the art's amazing. I love Al Pacino's art. What do you guys think?
The art is great. You know, it's classic. It doesn't distract from the story or the
I mean,
words.
she's
whatever.
kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Like she's like this face.
Yeah, she's the type of girl that every boy reader would have a crush on, and 10% of the girls.
Yeah.
But I just have to say, I think that. Go ahead.
But the thing is, that this story is really functional.
Yeah, you're right.
Like the story, it doesn't have a lot to do. She shows up, and she pops out.
yeah.
She
Quite
flies
literally.
out.
Yeah.
Like here I am. I came
Yeah.
I was sent here to follow you.
Can I just read this awesome dialogue by Otto Binder? Great Scott, a young girl, unharmed, but that means you're invulnerable, like me. Well, why not Superman? I'm also from the planet Krypton. That's impossible. I was the only survivor when Krypton exploded long ago. Besides, you weren't even born at the time. I gotta say, I love this stuff. I can eat this up, and this is being read by 1 million to 2 million people a month.
Right.
Kids loved it. They love the writing. They love the art. So criticize it all you want, but this is what people liked. A lot more than the people. I mean, there aren't as many people that like comics now, and part of it has to be.
What name should you use? Linda Lee. How's that? As good as any. Lana Lang was my girlfriend when I was Superboy, and Lois Lane replaced her when I became Superman. By sheer coincidence, she picked the same initials, LL.
I know. It's like.
It's like, what are you worried about here, Superman? I don't understand what this is.
You know what? It's a fairy tale. It's for kids, and I love it. And in some ways, we've talked about a lot of comics that were meant for adults that don't hold up as well. This comic was meant for kids, and in a way, it kind of holds up a little bit better, I think.
There's an amazing moment when they cover the entire planet with lead. But luckily, Zor-El had a roll of sheet metal in his lab.
Luckily.
Just like, it's like tinfoil, right? He had an extra
And
one.
they're
and it's
actually
covered.
just like rolling it out
This
like
entire
a
this entire meter, right? That they're rolling out giant rolls
Yes.
of lead to cover the entire planet, so that they don't.
Well, to be fair, it's not a planet. It's just Argo City.
It's Argo
It's only a
City.
city. Come
Yeah,
on.
like.
Yeah, I
luckily,
know.
I had a roll of lead that would cover Detroit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
in my
know.
lab.
It's absurd. I know.
It's totally absurd, but it's pretty fantastic.
It is
like-
pretty fantastic.
I buy into it.
I do too. Jolie,
buy
do you buy
into
into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think if you overthink it, it's gone.
You know
in
what
a
the
second.
lesson is, folks? Is superheroes were intended for they're a fantasy and mainly
Yeah.
for a child audience.
Yeah, but clearly this is a vision of superheroism that is way more innocent.
Yes, very innocent. You're right.
It's. I don't think we're meant to question. I think it's
You're right.
clear that like some of the stuff is ridiculous, and they're just like going with it. And
Yeah.
if they're gonna go with it, I'm gonna go with it.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna come back right after this, and we're gonna talk about the new 52 version of Supergirl. See you in a minute. So I'm gonna read Batman, but Batman is not a book. Batman is a magazine periodical, which means it comes out frequently. In this case, once a month. But how do I make sure I don't ever miss an issue of Batman, Tim?
Well, if you don't want to miss an issue, you just come into the store any day that we're open and you start a file or a pull list, and we'll put it aside for you every month, and you'll never miss an issue that way.
Like magic.
The Comic Book Syndicate will be back right after this.